Hello, everybody. Welcome to isamizu Global Conscious Wellness. I'm Dr. Jun.
I'm Dr. Isabel.
Today, we have a knowledgeable expert, Linda Seagraves. She is a mindfulness practitioner and medical clinical hypnotherapist, and as well as the certified forest therapist. Linda Seagraves, welcome to our platform.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here, and I look forward to sharing some practical skills and practical tips that people can use as they need to in their real life practice. So let me talk a little bit about my own history. Just very briefly, I came up through my early years, an officer in the Marine Corps. Then I had some time in banking, and then as a software development project manager. My feeling is my life really started to flower and to take a deep shape when I began to discover how to integrate mindfulness practices into not only my daily life, which I'd done for a long time, but how to integrate that into the work world. So I began to introduce mindfulness practices to engineers. And this was a perfect group of people to try this out because they are so excellent. They vote with their feet. If it doesn't work for them, they just don't come back. But what I found out was it was really working and really helping. And not only helping for the moment, but helping for the day-to-day routine when the ebb and flow of work seems sometimes to get too much. So from there, I began to realize that there was even more subtle practices that would be helpful. And so I began to investigate hypnotherapy, particularly the medical clinical support type, and found that that was indeed very helpful and very useful. And at that point, I began to do this outside of the confines of the corporations and found that as a way to go into more subtle energies, hypnotherapy was so gentle, so respectful, and really rather perfect. And from there, I realized that there was an opportunity to take things out into the natural world. And I began exploring forest therapy as a way to add into what I was already doing. But there is nothing that is more joyful, more expansive, and more natural than getting out among the trees, which have all these natural oils that are so health providing. And so now in my practice, I integrate the mindfulness-based stress reduction, and I do classes for corporations. I pull in essences of hypnotherapy practices, and also essences of forest bathing or forest therapy. And I have found that it's a rich, multifaceted, honoring practice that allows people to make movements that they don't have to try so hard to make. They're just natural. And so that pretty much gives an idea of what my practice is all about.
That is amazing. And I'm so happy that you're with us again. So I'm sure that this is going to be even better because now you're combining a lot of different things. How can you do so then you will be combining the forest bathing with hypnotherapy? Is that what you're doing right now with your practice?
Well, actually, the combination, everything's organic, and it all evolved. And I thought, what do people need? And how can I help them the most? And how can I make it so it doesn't seem like we're here to work, and we have to work hard at it. So in I have a 9-week mindfulness-based stress reduction program. And instead of doing a workshop, because the pandemic made that not possible, I began to do forest bathing walks for smaller groups of people. And it was such a rich experience. And I said, this is it. I am going to be doing for the workshop portion of my program, I'm going to be doing forest bathing walks. So that's how I've integrated that. Now, with my hypnotherapy practice, usually people see me for about 6 sessions. And I do a couple of in-house sessions where I'm in one-on-one with them. And then I always ask, would you be interested in a forest bathing walk? And I have never had anyone say, well, that sounds like a bad idea. They say, yes, when would we do that? And once we get out into that open space and people start breathing in the gentle oils, their phytoncides, they're so healing. They start breathing that they don't even know why they feel better. And they're out of their heads and they're not trying to either resist some way of being or to work so hard to change themselves. And they're moving their body. The other area that I'm certified in is trauma therapy, which is the Somatic Experiencing. So I know that if we can get out and move our body, that changes are not so difficult to make then. So that's how I'm combining it.
Wow. So I think what you summarized, how you combine the whole thing, that hitting the really critical three area, isamizu conscious movement. This is the way the conscious breathing, right? The breath works is the number one, how you can really create the coherence and balance in the autonomic nervous system. This is combining with the movement, walking in the forest, and the bathing through the space, right? So it's really like this combination of all the things that really integrate the aspect of just healing, in ourselves.
Yes, and I think the most joyful thing for me is that it takes me out of the role of trying to make something happen or create the conditions for something to happen for people, and literally put them in an environment where they are the ones who are causing their own healing. And I can create the conditions, and then they are fully and completely in the driver's seat. And that brings me great joy. And I have seen so much joy on the faces of people with whom I work. And it doesn't matter what their age is. The minute that they can get out into that open space, the spaciousness quality of our world, the better they feel. So
that is so true. Can you tell us this, like one case that you have had that you had a great result that you will be happy to share the story?
Oh, yes. One case comes to mind very quickly. So I have a client who is 9 years old, and I've seen him, I think, about 11 times. So that's more or less 11 weeks. So I got a call from his mother in the beginning, and we began to talk about him, and she said his behavior was out of control, and that he was screaming and slamming doors and threatening to kill the family in the night and stab people in their beds. And she was sobbing. And I said, I think that this is a little guy that's overwhelmed. And I think that we can give him some practices that will help him to get his own nervous system calmed down. Because when we listen to the way people speak, we will know where their nervous system is by the way they describe their world around them. So if they are describing catastrophe and anxiousness, or in this little guy's case, how he was going to strike out at people, that's a very dysregulated nervous system. So it's just a matter of getting things harmonized. So they walked up the walk, and I saw them coming, and I looked at the little boy and I thought, you're the killer? He was adorable. I mean, adorable little 9-year-old. And so they came in, and I started doing active things with him. And they tried sit therapy, just basic talk therapy, which did not work. And so I realized that it would work better if I use things that were active. So I put some dance music on, and he and his mom and we danced around, and I could see the joy in him. In another session, I have some drums, and I got my djembe drum out, and we played drums together. And he was just, I mean, he was like in a drum band. He was rocking away. And the smile, the joy, the effervescence of his little body was a treasure. I did things like I took him on a forest bathing walk. And of course, his mom is coming along, right along. And I know that I'm not just actually offering strategies for this little guy, but I'm offering strategies for the mom. And I always include her in the process of it to help them integrate the behaviors so that they can take it back home. I did also an egg toss where I had him, and he was very quick about the things that he'd like to quit. He wants to quit slamming doors. He wants to quit saying nasty things. And he wrote them on the eggs, and I just gave him the spelling, and he wrote them on the eggs. So he wrote 12 eggs. And then we walked outside, and I said, would you like to just let go of these things? And he said he would. And then luckily he's a baseball player. So it was like watching Mickey Mantle. You know, he was accurate. He hit the mark inside of the garden cart every single time. And when he got done, I said, how are you feeling? And he said, I feel great.
Oh.
And so over the weeks, there were dips, of course. And, you know, his mom would write me and say, well, we had an episode the other night that was not good. And then she would write me, wow, his relationship with his sister is changing. And then she said, could I bring my daughter to see you? So now I'm able to work with both children, and they're both finding that their anger at one another is really anger that they feel toward themselves, that they're just sort of pushing it out onto the other person, kind of like, Luke Skywalker, they're firing on the other person, but it's really they're empowered to change the things that they would like to change. So I think that's most important to me. I am seeing two young people who are gaining skills that are not that commonly developed in young people, who will take them on as they grow, and they may not remember everything. Their behavior is going to be all of the things that teenagers offer, but they're going to remember when they probably are most surprised that they have a skill to help them get themselves calmed down. So I'm doing this with adults also. I think it's important for us all to know that when our nervous system is dysregulated and we are in that sympathetic mode, that we go back to a very young age, that we are coming from those hurt, overwhelmed, probably traumatized little beings that never got that resolved. And so I don't find working with children all that different than working with adults. We all need tenderness. We all need understanding. We all need someone to hold space for us where we can feel safe to be who we really are, and that it's perfectly fine. That's what I've said to this little client. I said, you're perfectly great, and I think that pretty much sums up my practice. I've worked hard to get the skills I have, and the greatest joy for me is empowering people to learn some of these things that will help them when they're not in the practice room, that they can live their life joyfully.
That's incredible. And it kind of brought memories from what the Vedic philosophy says about the anger that you were saying, that the anger was towards themselves. So it's like sometimes, or actually a lot of times, what we see in others or the emotions that we're having is because we are having that within ourselves.
Yes. I think this would be a great time to offer some things that I share with my clients. Yes. And so the first thing is the idea of recognizing that we have the opportunity to anchor ourselves. And so I teach them to push their feet into the floor. So any one of your viewers now could just try that. Just push your feet into the floor and feel that sense of contact with the earth. You might imagine times when you feel who do you enjoy being with? Other people. Or what do you enjoy doing? And where are you when you are happiest or most grounded? And then the idea that you can come back to this anchor at any time, but it needs to be cultivated. You need to practice. And that creating the anchor gives you a safe harbor, your little boat's in a safe harbor, and you can come back to that anchor anytime and create those feelings at any time. Another thing that is very much with us 24/7, as June mentioned, is the breath. Using the breath to breathe not only in, but that down-regulating quality of the out breath. That down-regulates the heart. And so when we're breathing in and then that nice soft out breath, we do that 5 or 6 times or however many times that we need to do it. It's important, if I leave one thing, message on this webinar that is important, is anxiety and overwhelm doesn't last. If you have those anchors, you can see yourself through it. 5, 10, 15 minutes, it's gone. If we don't, like the fish, if we don't bite at it and we don't fuss with it, it will go away. And the breath is a way to ease through that. Another thing that we can do is use your voice. There's something that I learned in the trauma therapy from Dr. Levine is the use of the word "vous." So I'll just demonstrate it for you now. It's very powerful. All you do is just sit nice and straight and give yourself some nice alignment. Take a nice breath in, and then think of a lighthouse. This house, the horn that keeps you safe. Ooh. So you're doing that 2 or 3 times. If you place your hands on your chest, you can feel that resonance going all the way down through your body. And there's a nerve called the wanderer. The vagus nerve wanders all the way through the body. If you can vibrate that, you are vibrating all of your internal organs that say, it's safe and happy to be here. So another thing you can do is to play. Play is so important. I use play with both my adult clients and the children that I work with. So put your body in an odd shape, one that isn't familiar to you. Dance with someone or alone. Do things like Qigong or Tai Chi or yoga, anything where you're having a playful quality to the way you are. Humming, simple humming is a wonderful way to relax the body. Just hum a simple tune to yourself or yawn, anything where you're using your voice to soothe. And then another way could be make feelings of joy. Look for feelings of joy and how to comfort yourself. So one of the ways that I do to help comfort and to bring that feeling of, it's safe to be joyful, is simply to take the arm. I'm taking my arm and wrapping around my heart side. Simply place the hand underneath the arm and wrap the other arm around you and sit comfortably, sink into this gracious hug. And it's a way to feel containment. And when we are feeling upset or concerned or lonely or sad or that no one else is there for us, and let's face it, as human beings, we all feel that at some point. And in that moment we can become our own best friend. And a simple movement like this of helping the body to feel contained is so powerful for the nervous system. You could also simply do it by placing your hand on your heart, placing the other hand on your abdomen or any place else that feels comfortable, placing your hand on your head or on the back of the neck. Any of these work. It's whatever feels comfortable to you. That's the key. It's whatever feels comfortable. And then laughing, especially if you're with someone. And we delight in the effervescence of the laugh. That laughing feels joyful. It massages the inside of the body and tickles our funny bone. And we laugh, then we find usually we are laughing simply for the enjoyment of laughing because it feels good. So let's talk about now for a minute, how do we connect with each other? Because that's where safety is. We need one another, and it's why the pandemic has been so tough on everybody. So we connect through being with each other. And what are those cues of safety? Well, the first one is the smile. It's not the lips, because the bottom part of the face is for another purpose, to bite, to chew, that kind of thing. If we were put a hand up over the face, we would find that the real smile comes in the eyes. Mm-hmm. If a person's eyes are not engaged in the smile, then it's a cue that maybe things are not safe. Now, the fascinating thing about this is that when we smile, it triggers the muscles on the inner ears. When we do that, it has an affect on the tone, the sound, and the rhythm of the voice. So the voice is another cue of safety, really important. So we've got now smiling eyes, we've got a soothing sound of the voice, and then our body movements. Are we slightly leaning forward? Are our arms, our hands outstretched in a soft posture? Are we sharing with one another? Or are we distracted by our phone or whatever when we're sitting with family or with children? Are we engaged? This helps to regulate the nervous system. And then the idea of witnessing together. Think of the time that you were seeing a beautiful sunset and you saw it with another person. And the joy of sharing not only what you're experiencing, but beyond that, what that other person might be experiencing. And at some point, the energy all weaves together and we have a shared energetic experience. And that, I can't even explain it because it's unexplainable in language, but we all know when we feel it. So those are simple things that we all have within our ability to do at any time of the day. We don't have to go to a special place. We don't need to go to a special person. We are our own healing pharmacy, if you will, because when we have those experiences, we are producing those positive chemicals that do make us feel light and airy. And then instead of approaching our daily routine with a cup that's already close to overflowing, we approach it with a greater expansive of our own nervous system, and we can then embrace someone else who's got a problem. We can say, wow, well, let's see if we can solve this together. Let's see what we can do together. Right there, you've made the greatest healing offer that you could possibly make to another human being. So those are a few tips that I can offer all of you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. That's very helpful, especially now that we're all kind of going through a lot of more anxiety, a lot of people are overwhelmed, and then especially youth and teenagers and younger adults.
Yes.
Do you have another tip? I know those are great. Maybe another thing that people can do, or maybe either a meditation or a guided visualization for anxiety and things.
Yes. In fact, thank you for asking me. I do have one that I would like very much to share today, and not going to talk too much about it, but it's got some breathing in it, and I would like to just put something on my screen, if I may. So if I could just share my screen. Okay. So go ahead and just settle yourself into a comfortable position. Your body is upright and your back is beautifully aligned, allowing the muscles of your back to release and relax. As you breathe gently and rhythmically, and you notice your body expanding and contracting, you feel more and more at ease. And now, picture yourself walking in a flower garden. You notice all the beauty around you, and most especially a cluster of blooms in beautiful shades of bright, rich yellow. As you look more closely, you notice that of all the flowers, you are drawn to one that at this very moment is at the peak of its beauty. The shape is exquisite, the color is alive and pure, and the scent is sweet. As you continue breathing slowly and deeply, you realize that the scent is so pure that you can feel its vibrant energy. Your body is upright, and your back is straight and relaxed. And now, picture yourself at the happiest time in your life, at any age. Continue breathing slowly and calmly, in and out. Everyone has a happy time. It doesn't matter which one you choose. Remember how you looked. Remember how you felt. Let yourself feel this good feeling again. Breathe deeply and calmly in and out as you experience this happy feeling. Once again, you are in your favorite garden. You can smell your favorite flower in front of you, and you can feel its energy. Breathe the aroma deeply in and exhale gently out. Repeat this cycle for the next 3 gentle breaths. And now, make a wish, a big wish for yourself. Imagine space all around you, creating endless opportunities for your wish to unfold, just as you imagine it. And as you return to your full awareness once again, feel the energy in your body and allow your eyes, if they are closed, to open. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
All the people, listeners, and the people who watch appreciate that, because this practice needs to be done on a daily basis to really anchor ourselves, to feel grounded, feel safe. So thank you for sharing this, the tools.
You're very welcome. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. And then could you give us a little more information about the classes? Is that something that anybody can take, or is it um, how can they find you?
Yes, they can reach me through my website. It's lindaseagraves.com. And the program that I'm going to be offering in September, I'm extremely excited about. And it is Qigong. It's called Dragon's Way Qigong for Weight Management. And what I'm finding is that the process of combining foods that help to clean the major organs out is based on 5-element theory. And if you can create 6 weeks of relaxing the internal organs and getting them to calm down, inside of us grows a special kind of confidence. And I'll be offering that program. Along with it comes some very unique, I've done Tai Chi and Qigong for years, but I've never done anything as gentle and as effective as Wu Ming Qigong, which is created by or offered by Dr. Liu, who's out of New York. So I will be offering that program. And then, of course, if someone has an interest in a forest bathing walk, they may request that. So all of the contact information, the telephone number, the email, and what have you are on my website. And also they can take a look at the other practices that I do on that site. So I think that's the easiest, Isabel.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Linda. It's always a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to see you too.
Thank you.
Thank you.